All right, in 3, 2, 1, we are live. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Abel Perez.
Jose Rodriguez.
Rohi Zachariah.
And this is the Weekly Jargon. We took a week off. Rohi was out in Vegas rolling dice and doing everything you can do in Sin City. How was that trip?
I can't really talk about it. But
What happens there stays there, right?
That's right.
Awesome. And that kind of segues right into what we're talking about today. Casinos. Casinos, how they affect local communities, whether it be economically, morally, all ways that it could potentially affect them, right? Here in the great city of Madera, centrally located in California, we have been awaiting a brand new casino right off the 99. And that has made waves of just like pros and cons, right? A lot of people either for it, can't wait for it. And meanwhile, there's others that are still picketing saying, stay away. What do you think about that, Jose?
Well, I think it's a good topic to talk about. I'd certainly hope that casino does come because it certainly gives our city some life, right? Some life economically. I think we've seen the impacts of casinos up in the foothills, and I think we can certainly share some of that revenue that can help our community here, not only in jobs, but also the amount of revenues and what the impacts are.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be negative impacts for those.
Well, we
can dive in all that.
We'll
yes.
dive into
Yeah.
all that. So, Jose, today you brought kind of a new game to the jar
I
here.
did.
And why don't you tell us about how this is going to work here?
Believe it or not, my wife got me this here, and these are table topics, and this is kind of just to kind of get us warmed up a little bit, right? Just to kind of get us going on topics that all folks can discuss on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a topic, and quickly we'll answer the question.
All right.
So
do you have this at your dinner table at home?
I haven't really used it yet.
Jose,
but
you're a little dry with your
Yeah.
subjects. Can you mix it up here?
let's mix it up. Well, we'll start off with this one. How long can food be on the ground and still be fair game for eating?
Yeah, I'm a big 10-second rule guy. 10-second rule. If it's 11 seconds, that's disgusting, but I'm a 10-second guy.
I think it's got to be dry. It depends if it's dry or wet.
Yeah.
Dry food got a lot more time. If it's wet food, I say 0 seconds. But if it's something dry, like a piece of candy, it's at least 5 seconds.
You know, for me, I think that if it's dry like you, I think it's fair game regardless. Just blow on it, and wash it, rinse it up a little bit, and it's
My
ready
kids
to go.
find, cereal from probably 6 months ago.
If it's peanuts or almonds or something, I think they can go a little longer than 5,
All right,
10
now
seconds.
to piggyback off that, if it's a piece of hair on there, do you take it off and eat it, or is it done for you?
It's interestingly, I think that the hair doesn't bother me as it bothers other people. For me, I can just remove it. And get it done. That's it.
You know,
Right.
yeah, I
Okay.
saw this thing where it was saying like hair is funny because when it's attached to our head, it's beautiful. We caress it, we'll cuddle with it, all that stuff, right? But as soon as it detaches from our head, it's disgusting.
Yes.
What is that hair doing on my table, right? Anyway,
No.
cool. Rogi, your turn there.
Oh.
Pick something off the jar here.
Fancy little
That
box.
probably the same.
Okay. At what age is someone too young for you to date? They brought the good questions. Let's stay legal. But my wife is 6 years younger than me, so I think it worked out for us. So I think that's still a good age gap.
How old were you when you first started dating?
First dated her?
Well, yeah, sorry.
Be a good one here.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. How old was I? I think 24, 25.
So you would say 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just to be safe, right?
Yeah, just to be safe. Please don't say you were 23 because then you got some legal issues.
No.
I'd say 18, of course. But now come on. I think you'd be asking someone that's probably younger, but too young, I think, would be 18. I think that'd be.
I think it's better. Like, what's the age gap? Because they just had.
If we
some of these
modify
older
that
80-year-olds,
question, yeah.
Marrying 20-year-olds. Is that right?
I'm old. My wife is younger 3.5 years. So
Yeah.
I started dating her when I was 20. I want to say 22. So she was 18.
I have some family members that are 10 years older than their spouses, but they met later in life, right?
Yeah.
So like 23 and 33. So a little less awkward there,
Yeah.
right? So I think, and now, you can't, it's all, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
So good question.
All right, one more round.
That kind of brought out some blushing around here, man. Jeez. Oh my gosh. What kind of questions? Are you sure these were meant for the show, Jose, or were these meant for you and your wife?
These are
Okay, what smell sends you running for the hills?
Okay. Well, that's a good one. It's quite a bit of them, but I think more so is anything that's got to do with the feces and stuff. I think if I can smell that anywhere, especially on my shoes,
Yeah.
if I step on dog poop, I mean that I can smell that, and that really gets me like irritated. I have to not only wash what's underneath it and triple wash it till I finally get that smell out of there. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sensitive to smell, so I mean anything that's just foreign to me is just it's a no go. I don't know. I'm very sensitive.
Yeah. I would say probably like a vinegar smell, like that vinegar smell that comes from like the trash. Not so much vinegar itself, that's fresh out of a bottle. I can tolerate that, but that you get that whiff of vinegar from a trash bag or like old beer that was
Yeah.
like thrown away and it's just sitting there. Oh my gosh, that's pretty terrible.
especially if you're hungover, right? It would just make you want to go.
That makes it worse. That makes it worse. All right. Well, these were pretty fun. Thank you, Jose, and
right,
thank you, Miss
awesome.
Rodriguez. And so we have two sponsors. We have Miss Rodriguez. She sponsored the questions here,
There
and
you
then
go.
of course we have Farmers Insurance located here in Madera. Agent Israel Cortez. Thank you for the coffee mugs and your generous donation to the show.
Awesome.
If you would like to partake and advertise your business on our show, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to help set you up with our liaison, Rohi.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, cool. So let's jump right into today's topic.
Awesome. Well,
All right.
we have several of the questions here, so let's go ahead and pop those up. Okay. I believe they're probably stuck somewhere in there.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
There you go, partner.
This one must have been yours, Jose.
It could have been. Yeah, the writing chicken scratch, right? So I'll start off with mine. And this is regarding casinos, right? So what's the economic impact?
The economic impact of casinos. I actually did a little bit of research ahead of time.
All right.
And so I do have some stats on the casinos. So, in the United States, casinos provide 676,000 full-time jobs.
That's huge.
And that's $36 billion in wages.
Oh,
right.
wow.
And so, it's certainly one of the larger employers or industries for employment. And those full-time jobs range anywhere from high-level management all the way down to, of course, your minimum wage earners, but still full-time employees. So I think it has a significant impact in a positive way for many communities. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it, especially the one that we may get here off the 99. It's definitely something that it brings an income that I wouldn't say was maybe unplanned. I mean, obviously when they bring in restaurants and those kind of extras, somebody driving down the 99, just like anything else, would say, hey, let's grab a bite to eat here. But, especially when you look at the ones that in the mountains that we have currently, people who are going to visit, let's say Yosemite, maybe from out of the country, out of the state, use those as now a destination, and now they're dropping some extra bucks instead of just, getting a hotel for the night. They're spending a little bit of their money and staying kind of local. So I think it does bring a good economic boost there. So.
No, I certainly agree. And I think you see this when you travel to Vegas. I think you can attest to that, Rohi. But even casinos around here, we talk about either the local ones that are here, Table Mountain and Chukchansi, and each of them with their own resort now. I think they each have their hotels and stuff because they see the impact that it has, especially with folks that like to travel, have a good time. And there's nothing like, staying there. So I think a casino near, especially Madera, near the 99, not only do we have an airport that would facilitate the travel, but, it really sprawls development, and then that's economic development, like retailers and what have you. But at the same time, jobs, like you mentioned earlier, and more importantly is revenues that can come into the city coffers and or the local communities, because you're traveling a major, highly traffic corridor, which is 99. I mean, just think about it. A sign up in the one of the exits will certainly attract you and make you want to say, you know what, maybe I can stop by and drop some money here. Well, when you drop that, again, that boosts the employment, boosts retail, and it boosts certainly revenues that come into our coffers. Yeah. So yeah, certainly I think it has a positive impact on the economic life of the community.
Yeah, and I think well, with casinos in California specifically, you have, well, and anywhere in the United States, you have them on Indian reservations, right? And so I think the assumption is that none of that revenue gets paid over to anybody, right? Whether it be federal, state, or local governments. But in reality, $15 billion in taxes and revenue share to those agencies, federal, state, and local government. So there is benefits for those communities that allow those casinos to be housed there. So
Yeah, and because they're sovereign lands, obviously a lot of the taxes stay within there, but the monies do leak out because people want to go out and do things outside of the tribal land, so to speak, right? And a lot of these casinos formulate some MOUs with the counties and cities or school districts, and they provide funding, grant opportunities that otherwise wouldn't have it, right? So, and again, no different than the California State Lottery. All these monies are supposed to go. Certain portion of it goes to schools, right? I don't know to what extent you see them, but there's agreements that these monies will be directed to the schools.
yeah, when you say outreach, I think of Chachansey Park in Fresno, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very beautiful complex that revitalized downtown Fresno, and sponsored heavily by that casino.
Correct.
So cool. Next question. My question says here: do casinos infringe on moral values on communities? Okay.
And see, that's the question contrary to what we just talked about, right? There is economic life, but at what cost,
Yeah.
right? And you have to bring that to the forefront because in many cases you do see addictive gambling, right? And with addictive gambling comes all these other problems, sometimes divorce, crime, just a very addictive behavior that can pretty much ruin people, right? Now, is that a large percentage of them? Do we have responsible gamblers? Or, I mean, I don't know if that's an oxymoron, responsible gamblers, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're a gambler, it's because there's an addiction. So
That's not true.
Well, I mean, again, depending on where it's coming from, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's people that'll argue against that, but in my case, I do think that morally, it does infringe on some values because there's a lot of people that are conservative, right? They don't believe in gambling, and you have to outweigh it. And this is where we make decisions, right? We have to outweigh. Well, are the benefits greater than the negative impacts that it has? And that's the hardest thing to do because sometimes you have to go against those values that you have to be able to make sure you make a wise decision that benefits your community.
Well, I think that's where, I mean, again, the gambling aspect is interesting because in a couple of weeks, Super Bowl's coming up, and I know everybody that ever watches it has put some money on one of those squares that somebody's running.
Yeah.
Illegal gambling, by the way, but none of that money goes back into the community, but they're okay with that, and then they'll say, well, no, we can't have a casino. It's the same aspect, The thing is, like when you say responsible gambling, yeah, there's people that will go there and take their rent check and blow it, and now they have fallout from that. They got problems. But for the most part, those same people probably still have that same spending mentality outside of the casino, meaning that they're still probably buying something they shouldn't have bought with that money, or they're, so to blame the casinos for their, mismanagement of their money is a little wrong. It's the fact that, like everybody, that they have their spending, it's not really under control, and they're unfortunately where they're at because of that, but it's not the casino's fault. I mean, to think that, like some of these people do, like they're going to beat the casino. I've heard that a lot of times, that, they're going to come out ahead. It's always funny to hear that because you go into Vegas and you look around and you go like, wow, these are beautiful hotels and casinos built by all your money that you lost,
Correct.
So, it's kind of interesting when you have people that really think that I'm going to do this full time and I'm going to make a living off this, and it's just not
the
gonna
house always wins.
They do.
The house always wins.
But you enjoy when they win.
And
It's a good fun time.
It's interesting talking about Vegas real quick. I'll segue off a little bit about the house always winning. There's actually one establishment in Vegas where the visitors always win, and that's at the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. The visitors always win. The house always loses. So take a
like
jab.
that.
It's been a rough week for me as a Cowboy fan, and so I just want to take a jab at some underdogs there.
We don't want to go into detail.
So anyway, I agree. I can't stand hearing like, we know that if opportunity presents itself, there's going to be there's going to be people that get themselves addicted to gambling, right? Maybe Chichansi's a little bit too far for them to like be regulars 2 or 3 times a night. So those things happen. But I look at it like I would look at a liquor store, right? There's liquor stores on almost every corner. Every grocery store sells alcohol, right? But you choose to, consume it, and in what amount and what quantities, right? So we can't say, oh, we have a liquor store coming in, or we have alcohol sales at every store, and so now we're going to have an alcoholic problem within the community, right? And same with cannabis, right? And in fact, I think that when we have organized, or we put this stuff in an organized fashion, it reduces the amount of violence that you could actually see, right? I mean, like we're in a spot where we don't have people getting killed over the squares. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but it's not to that point. But if you look at like the old bootleggers and prohibition, right? The illegal making alcohol illegal actually led to a wave of crime, right? It put it in the hands of criminals who were going to do it anyway. And so, creating an environment that's safe, fun, clean, provides all of these amenities, I think it's more of a good than it is a bad, right? And I just, if it does come, look out for your family. If they're spending a little bit too much time there, maybe it's time to have a conversation like, hey man, you're spending a little time, too much time in there, right? But I think those realities are for anybody. You put a library in the community, people are going to read more. You put a IT or tech school here, people are going to learn about IT and tech, right? And that's starting to happen in Madera. So you put a place for entertainment. And not only is it just gambling that happens in there, but you get some pretty good headliners that come in, some celebrities, some singing, some art, all of those things, because they have the facility to house them. They know they're going to be able to draw a crowd. So there's multiple things that a casino actually brings.
Yeah, I think to your point, when you say entertainment, I think that's one of the things that is missing here in our community sometimes. Is people always wonder, well, why don't we have this, right? Well, I think when you do bring a casino, it brings up a different level of entertainment as well. But back to the moral values, right? I think, and that's, again, it's in every different perspectives, right, and how we look at it. To your point, Rohi, with the monies that are won from these illegal squares, I think people have to spend that money somewhere, right? I mean, whether they spend it here, spend it out there, so it doesn't stay. You don't save that money. If you're already a gambler, then you're most likely going to spend that money somewhere. But overall, I think again, we do have a very conservative community here, but I think they've embraced it over the years. I think we've been waiting for this casino to happen. And obviously, there's been some litigations that have prevented it from going on. But hopefully, here in the future, we get to see some groundbreaking, and we get that casino up and running. Because I think it's been a long wait, and folks have been, just waiting for that opportunity. And I mean, and again, it's going to have its detrimental issues when it comes to crime, addictive gambling, divorce, and what have you. Certain statistics that maybe certain bias groups may be able to elevate. Obviously, the casino has a different look at it, and that's where the economic life goes. But at the end of the day, is it morally wrong in the community, right? And that, again, that's to everyone's perspective. I think in my case, when I first came to Madera, I'm not big on casinos, and that's probably reaches because it's dear to my heart. I see some of my family that goes out there, and whether you call it recreational entertainment, whatever I call it, sometimes addictive behaviors. Now, do they leave all their check out there? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it becomes a routine where it's got to be once, twice, maybe 3 times a week, and that may be an issue there. That it's hard to tell someone, hey, you have these issues. Can you hold back? And again, these are addictive traits that we carry. Some of us have them stronger than others, and I think it could be a problem. But again, I think there's many vices that we all have, and I think this is just another one that could potentially become very addictive. Yeah.
So what's your answer on that? Yes or
Well,
no?
I mean, are they morally? Are they, like I said, you have to kind of outweigh the benefits of a casino. What do they bring to the community? I can hold back and say no. I don't want them because they're morally wrong. But as an elected official, I think I have to look at the benefit of the community more than my own. I have to separate my own interests. So at the end of the day, I am going to agree that they're not morally right for communities. But again, once you outweigh the benefits, I have to separate myself and say, well, I mean, casinos are here for other benefits, and we have to allow for that. People want them.
All right.
Okay.
What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the moral aspect is, yeah, what you see there going on is not usually morally acceptable. So yeah, I mean, I would agree. It's on that aspect. If you're just taking that,
It does infringe on a individual's moral
I
value.
mean, that's why you go to Vegas and you have all these weddings and everybody getting married there that don't even know each other. I mean, it's just it's what happens. It's just you get caught up in the.
That's not
moment.
how you did it, right?
No.
Yeah. You were 23 or how old were you?
Whatever the
You
legal
said
age
6
there
years
is.
old. Okay, that's right.
That question, that table topic may have got you in trouble. Right?
All right. Well, Rohi, you have one question there. Let's fire
Yeah, sure. It
off
kind
that.
of plays into your guys' stuff. Should casinos do more to help addicted gamblers? And again, I mean, they have their signs, and I think that's it's a balance of business. Is that if they did too much to stop these guys, then they gotta be out of business. But it's like anything else that we're talking about. I mean, there's a liquor store across the street. Should there be somebody outside monitoring it and saying like, hey, you can't have something because you're obviously addicted to alcohol? We're not really going that far.
Right.
But to some point, you kind of expect that at the casino of somebody blowing their money and expecting the guy behind the table, the pit boss or something to say like, hey, you've had enough. So I think they've done enough. I mean, it's hard to identify somebody who is addicted or just having a good time or just doing what they want to do. I mean, it's almost like, should I have a credit check before I go to the casino that says like, all right, you can lose this amount of money and it's okay, like. So I don't know. It's tough to infringe on somebody's ability to kind of do whatever they want to do.
Well, somebody's rights, right? Somebody's rights to just, spend their money as they see fit. And, one person's losses may be a fortune for another person where it might just be, recreational losses that they intended to lose, right? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it would be very difficult to create a standard to apply it to all people. And again, infringing on somebody's rights, freedoms to do as they please, that's when we start crossing a lot of lines there. And so, I'm never for, enforcing additional policy on those type of things, right? But I think there are, I lived in Reno for about a year, and obviously plenty of casinos, it's all legal there. And almost every time a commercials would come on during a show, they would advertise about addictive gambling, and you knew the number, and and I think that's as good as it gets. Probably not going to reach the people who are addicted because they're in the casino, but their friends and family now have a resource to contact, and I think that's about as good as you can get sometimes, without saying, "Hey, we're going to tie you to your house and you can't leave,"
Yeah, I think every casino should have a policy, or they do have policies, I think, when it comes to, obviously people that have problems, right? They have a hotline that you can reach out to, and I'm sure they provide some type of service to that degree. When I look at the addictive behaviors, we think, well, who are the people that are most impacted, right? Probably the poor, unemployed. I mean, they're always looking for that quick buck that they can make, or try to get away from something that's just not creating happiness in them, right? Not to say that people that gamble aren't happy. I'm just saying for the majority of people that I see, a lot of them already come with these issues that probably lead them to continue and trying to seek that thrill. For some of us, gambling has been for decades. I mean, you can say thousands of years. You can take it back where, maybe there was gambling in some form, it might not have been cash or some type of currency, but you were betting off the sheep or betting off cows or something, right? But I think it's been in our cultures, and this is all cultures of all the worlds, that gambling has been there forever, right? It's been there for a long time. So for us to try to just break away from that, I mean, you look at sports betting, for example. I mean, this game on this weekend, the 49ers and the Cowboys, big game, but I'm sure.
The outcome before it started.
Yeah, right. Now, and I could have called it in. I could have made that bet. I just don't have a bookie, and I don't participate. But obviously, I'll talk to my cousins that are Cowboy fans, and I'll say, hey, what's going on? Let's do it. Lunch? What's going on, right?
exactly.
And you know, but it's good because I want to have those bragging rights, but it feels good when your team wins. It feels something about feeling good. It's the opposite when they don't. And I think it's the same when you're gambling. But I do feel that there should be support whenever there's problems to that extent that you've become an addictive gambler and what have you. I
That's what I'm saying. So you're saying like a credit check? Should I, before I'm allowed a casino, I have to have a credit check that says, again,
that may be infringing.
This is your limit for the day.
That may be infringing on your rights. I don't know to what extent. Maybe casinos have their own in tribal lands. Maybe they can do something like that. Say, well, you're a regular here. You're on the whole $25,000. I think we cut you off here. Right.
And then it's how do you measure the severity of the addiction, right? Because people who drink Starbucks, they're addicted to caffeine, but we don't deem that harmful, even though they might be taking years off their life because their heart's racing. So, 24/7. But
you made me think about my coffee now.
But if a client was going in there 2-3 times a day, Starbucks isn't going to say, "Hey, we got to cut you off, buddy. You got a problem," right? They're going to say, "Hey, Jose, welcome back, man. Here you go." But obviously the impacts financially and potentially even physically could be a lot more instant and dramatic in a casino environment. But it's still just like, okay, well, how do you measure that, and at what point are you required to step in if we're going that route, right? And like I said, you can get somebody who says, "Hey, I have $10,000 to lose. And I intend to lose it, and I'm okay with that." And my father-in-law, he enjoys the casino, but anytime we go, he says, "Hey, do you have $200 to lose? Do you have $100 to lose?" And that's the mentality, right? We're gonna go to lose, and if we win, cool. And I've been with him before, where the first 10 minutes we walk in, and he hits like $500 on a machine. He's like, "Let's go." And we're out. Like, I'm like, dude, we just got here, but we're out. He's like, "I'm out of here." Like, you don't win. And his mentality is like, you don't win at these places. So when you do, just enjoy it, take it out, take it home. Right. So, I think with the world being as small as it's becoming, thanks to whether it be social media, the, public transportation, our cars are becoming a lot more comfortable, so a 40-minute drive is nothing, right? People have access. People who are going to be addictive to gambling, they're already at the casino now. Yeah, especially from our from our community.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're there already. So I don't think moving it closer is going to have a big enough impact to say, "Oh no, we don't want it here."
Well, it's just like California's, we were looking at doing the online gambling and allowing it, and the pushback that came from that. And it's realizing that if I want to gamble right now, there are plenty of outlets to do so. It's not really, making it that much easier. I can do it.
Right.
It's a way to do it already.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at what is allowed and what's legal, I mean, you start asking yourself the question, well, why is it that we allow the California lottery?
Yeah.
Where a lot of the folks that are out there, again, going back to the same folks that are out there is probably the poor and unemployed.
Yeah.
They want to strike it rich. And obviously that $1, $10, $15 that they have, especially when you have Mega Millions or Super Lotto, I mean, I won't lie. I mean, I get caught up on that. When it's up beyond the $500 million, I go, you know what? It'd be foolish for me not to buy one. But I mean, why? Why do I need to get myself caught up in that, right? But I mean, I guess the idea of saying, well, what if I do hit it, right? And it gets you. And I think for many people, that's it. Every single day, they say, hey, well, maybe one of these days I'll hit it.
I think it's the idea, that hope that it provides, right?
Yeah,
because
when they do hit it, I mean, you gotta. Those people
win.
usually they'll win $5 or $10 here and there. They'll still be behind, but I think that's also when you look at the casinos. It's not that you just if I went to a casino and all I did was lose.
Yeah.
I'd be cured of it pretty quick. But it's that
it's
you
a
go
thrill.
and every once in a while you'll win $100 or you'll win $500 and you come out and you're like, okay, that's it.
And I think it's that thrill of wanting to hit that again, even though it's a short-lived moment. For a long period of pain, you're willing to sacrifice that just to go get that short thrill. And I mean, I say this in golf. I play golf, and I'm always looking to make that perfect score or that. And it doesn't happen often, but it keeps me going because I have this drive to want to be able to get there. And sometimes when I'm playing competitively, it's like another gamble way, right? You're playing against somebody. and you're betting on yourself, right? And you want to make that shot or something to make you feel good about it, and then 10 of the other shots are just as they're bad, right?
Well, Jose's talking about being a scratch golfer. Let me relate to all the average Joes out there. You hit bad shots, all 17 holes, and it might be that last 18 hole that you par that'll keep you coming back.
Yeah.
And I think that's how gambling kind of is too. You'll lose,
You'll go through the pain
of the time, but you'll lose $10,000, but you go and you hit $1,000 and it keeps you coming back.
It's all worth it.
So I think it's those moments of the anticipation, hope certainly does it, and with the lotto, it always makes me laugh when it's like, oh, it's at $1 billion and everybody's racing to go buy it, right? Well, a month ago it was only at 50 million. But it's like 50 million could still impact your life, like amazingly, right? But yet the anticipated the momentum of people going and wanting to play reduces significantly, right? But when it's $1 billion, it's like the idea of if I get $1 billion,
what would I do with such?
When the 25 million or whatever,
I wouldn't know what to do with $1 million.
Is great.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, it's a good topic, and I think this is. My personal opinion, I'll wrap up with my personal opinion, and you guys can do the same if you'd like. But, I think that the casino is going to be good for the community of Madera. It just between jobs, opportunity there, it's going to put an anchor into Madera. From that, we'll continue to see additional retailers. We'll continue to see additional buildings, homes being built here, as we'll need to house all of those employees. We'll need to, it'll draw people in from the outskirt communities. They'll want to be closer to this centralized city. And, hotels will start going up because they'll start reaping the benefits. And, hopefully we're a community where you see a Top Golf come in, right? Where, those type of anchor points or those type of, national draws start coming here because you have the capacity, you have the foot traffic, people exiting here in Madera. And that's why I think it would be really, really good for us.
I mean, I agree. I think people have to remember the fact it's called entertainment. I mean, if there are people enjoying themselves, how I enjoy myself is how I enjoy myself, So I think it's a benefit to the community. I think you can't, say that just because there's a few people that are gonna, maybe not know how to manage themselves, that we should take something like this and not consider it. I think it far outweighs. There's so many more benefits that it's got to come, and we have to see that. I think allow it. So
Yeah, I have to agree with both of your comments. I think at the end of the day, you look at the amount of benefits versus the negative impacts, and I think you have to look at that and say that it is something good for the community. Before we get out, I wanted to say maybe we can finish out with the question here last round. We want to let Rohi redeem himself, but we'll finish off with the last table topic here.
Before we get there, don't forget to like and subscribe.
There we go.
This is the weekly jargon, and today we're talking about the casinos and the impacts it has on our local community, and we're gonna round it off right here with a little bit of fun. I know Jose was probably fishing for.
He likes this game.
No, he was fishing for a particular question.
Here's a good one. How long can your mother stay at your place before she's worn out her welcome?
My mother? My mother can stay forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Good answer.
No, I think that's true. I mean, I don't think anybody has a mom that you would say it's time to kick her out.
Yeah.
You guys
But I
are-
should have said maybe mother-in-law. I think maybe that'll affect her a little different.
Well, the question says your mother, right?
Yeah.
And I for me, no
Let's
different.
go.
Obviously,
Yeah. Throw your mother under.
no,
You got
not
it.
at all,
Keep
not
it
at all.
juicy, keep it juicy.
That question, I think, just
Yeah.
your mother, right? I mean, what can you say? I mean, whether or not your other partner would want that's a different story. But the question was asked directly to me, so yeah. With that, I think we'll wrap it up again. Farmers Insurance.
All
If you
right.
want a sponsor, please get a hold of us and we'll get you going.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you, and we'll see you next time.